Welcome back. So this is an introduction video to a beginner series. Not sure about the name yet. Still in the process. So I would just like to go briefly with you what you can expect in the next 15 to 20 videos, something like that. I would like to cover as much as I can, especially for the viewers, turners who has little experience or none. So in the first few chapters I'm going to cover wood selection, wood defects, what are the healthy defects, which means that you can safely turn them, opposed to, let's say, radial cracks or breeding cracks. So quite a big difference, and I would like to explain more on what's safe at the lathe, so you don't have like a blowout or anything like that because of the cracks, because that's pretty much a user error if you put knowingly a piece of wood that is highly cracked on the lathe. Other stuff in that first chapter will be how to cut efficiently. Other thing, lathe parts, some of the lathe sizes, what is maybe the best choice for the beginner to pick. Although that's, if you ask like 20 turners, you'll get 50 answers or stuff, something like that. So there are a lot of opinions. This is my opinion on this, and other will go through tools, gouges, what are the differences between spindle work tools versus cross grain, and where they can interfere with each other and use on both sides. Chucks, some of the chucking methods you can use, chuck parts and stuff like that. Probably interesting chapter will be about safety. Now on that chapter I'm going to go briefly with, it will be probably the shortest video, because safety, I can point you out in the direction that is safe, but if you're not going to use like a face shield or something like that, that's user error again. So I'm going to explain what you can use, what should be using on the lathe, and to me most important probably the aspect will be the lathe speed, which some turners neglect, and so I'm going to make another sharpening video as well, sharpening chapter, where I'm going to do sharpening but with the platform, but I'm going to show you from my point of view. When I started in ball turning, I couldn't justify buying a jig, and since I was already doing the freehand sharpening on basic chisels, carpentry chisels, and stuff for the spindle work that we used, it makes sense to me to just learn the platform sharpening, which is the easiest way for me at least to start out, and it works perfectly if you know some of the nuances which can, you know, mess up your grind, and therefore you won't get the best results, which can down the road be frustrating, as you will not get the results that you want, and it's sort of a avalanche effect, you know, domino effect. So next chapter after safety will be probably be spindle work, and I'm going to incorporate tools for the spindle work, show you alternatives, show you different types of cuts, what you expect the surface to come out of that, and we'll make, probably I'm going to call this rough and skew slash gouge exercise, to go really thin spindle, and I'll show you how it's done, and it's really good practice for get the feel and just letting the wood come to the tool. The next chapter will be cross grain orientation and exercise. So we're just going to put a blank of cross grain, bold blank, something like that, and I'll show you different types of cuts, the efficient way, the not so efficient way, the push cut, the peeling cut, and difference between them, difference on the surface, why it's happening and stuff like that. And in the first chapter we'll talk about the grain direction, and you'll see here more in the action. So after that we're going to actually incorporate those some of the skills that I've shown you to actual projects, so like egg, spinning top, and it will, on the spindle work, we're going to make either some sort of a spindle with details and everything, or like a pill box or end grain, box. So after that we're going to cover the project with cross grain. So we're going to start probably with something like a candle holder. For those, we call it luchica. It's small candle. So that will be basic shape, basic holding with the chuck and everything, but you'll get to see that, and it's great exercise for the beginners to make some of these. Then we're going to make a cross grain box. Now about the cross grain boxes, it's interesting because you get pretty much all the cuts that are on cross grain in that little project. And after that we're going to rough turn wet piece of ball blank, rough turn the ball. I'm going to speed dry it in the microwave for a few days in a row, and we should have a nice dry rough turn blank, which then we're going to finish, and that will be the end of the probably of the beginner series. Maybe along the way I'm going to think of something that some of the project that we could do, so you have more of a idea of all of these techniques and everything. And after this beginner series I'm planning on making advanced series where I'm assuming you already know the proper way to cut wood, to grain direction and everything, and we're just going to focus on more advanced project techniques, stuff like cutting beads with spindle gouge, back hollowing cut with the spindle gouge, shear scraping, shear cutting, some of the differences between cutting and scraping, and like I said, more complex projects with more, let's say, design elements, beads, stuff like that. So more kitschy projects, more pizzazz on them. Yeah, so that's in short what you can expect in next couple of months, something like that. I'm going to try post at least 2 videos a week, if my schedule will allow it, but I hope it will, since I'm like taking one day to shoot all of the videos and edit late at night. So yeah, so one idea behind the Q&A section of the series that is coming along, my idea was to go it parallel with this beginner series, and in beginner series videos you can ask questions and I will try to answer them in comments like I always do, but if it's too long or it's much easier to like say it than write it down, I'm going to put it in the video. So it will probably be something like in the previous beginner video series chapters, you ask this and this and this, and I'll try to in the next week's Q&A video answer those questions. So that's general idea, and I'm just trying to help out as much as I can with this series, and hopefully you can get the most out of it, and at the end of the series be more confident around the lathe, what you're doing, and be more relaxed and just enjoy the process. So, the next chapter.